I had a whole video planned for today. Like, a whole video. But something happened to one of my students last week that we really need to talk about because this situation could have easily gone really bad for her really fast. And since I've already seen several other sellers mention the exact same thing happening to them, I figured that this video needed to be rushed out ASAP. All right, you guys know the drill. My name's Starla and I'm a manager at erank.com as well as the founder of the Handmade Alpha Academy for Etsy sellers. I also have COVID right now, so if I sound a little deeper than normal, that's why. And working with sellers on the scale that I do and reading seller stories from both eRank and from my own students, I feel like sometimes patterns begin emerging that are notable enough to make little public service announcements about. And I'm not talking about the daily, oh, I'm not making sales today. Are you making sales today? Etsy must have changed the algorithm because I'm not making sales today. Because honestly, guys, I've been on Etsy for over 10 years now, and there literally hasn't been a single day that's gone by when I haven't seen someone post, is it slow or is it just me? These are literally traffic stats that you guys can look up yourself with the eRank Sites tool. Yeah, Etsy's pretty slow right now, but if you spend time actually reading Etsy's quarterly reports, you'll discover overall that Etsy is still growing. But that's not what I want to talk about today, so I'll just leave the link to their 2023 Q4 report down below. No, this is about a scam that I keep seeing pop up in the various Etsy groups. And as scams go, it's a pretty good one, which makes it a pretty bad one because it's an easy scam to fall for. Last week, one of my students received a message on Etsy for a large order. And let me start by saying that this student isn't a newbie. She's a six-figure seller with nearly 20,000 sales and a ton of experience in dealing with customers. So receiving a message for a large custom order isn't anything new for her. The message said, "Hi, don't know if your store has these or similar products. Personalized t-shirts for babies made to order. I searched some stores but couldn't find it. Can you do it?" Okay, some obvious language barriers here, but this shouldn't automatically be a red flag. Etsy is a massive marketplace with buyers and sellers all around the world, and as a seller who ships worldwide, it's very likely that someday you'll deal with language barriers. But then the customer sent what appears to be a OneDrive link. Looking at the URL, it seems to be harmless, with the words university and file photo design. The customer goes on to say that the seller will need to click the link and unzip a zip file to see the designs that they'd like printed on the shirts. She also mentions that she's currently on vacation and can't access her computer to attach the files directly to the message, further emphasizing that the seller will need to click the link to see the 8 designs that she'd like printed. This is about the time when the seller started to get suspicious. She explained to the customer that she does not click on links that are sent to her, but she gives the customer the option to take screenshots of the designs, which obviously shouldn't be a problem if this customer is actually on vacation and has access to their phone. Instead, the customer persistently asks the seller to open the file. Big red flag. After doing a bit of digging, I found multiple cases of sellers reporting this exact same thing happening to them. Each time, the customer states that they're on vacation and sends what appears to be a OneDrive link in order to fulfill a large custom order. And each time, the scam is catered specifically to the type of product that the seller creates, making the messages feel personal. I spent hours researching the scam, trying to figure out exactly where it came from and what details these scammers were specifically trying to steal. The search led me to the University of Pittsburgh's Information Technology Department. Remember how the scam URL contained the word university? In 2021, the University of Pittsburgh released a warning stating that they'd identified an email phishing scam targeting the university that claims to contain a link to the recipient's document in OneDrive. Sound familiar? Thankfully, the seller was immediately on red alert and marked the message as spam. But for new or inexperienced sellers, scams like these are a huge issue, especially when the seller believes that they're receiving a huge custom order. Or they worry that not responding to the customer will cause them to lose their star seller status. Through my research, I found that most of these OneDrive scam cases on Etsy have taken place over the last 2 months, which likely means that these scammers are just getting started. And for my long-term sellers, I'm sure many of you are saying, duh, of course you don't click on links in customer messages. But I also know that I have just as many new sellers who may not know what to look out for when it comes to scams on Etsy. In short, if you get a weird link on Etsy, don't click it. Instead, encourage the customer to attach photos or screenshots directly to their message. If the customer persists, becomes pushy, or makes threats, stop replying and mark the conversation as spam. Etsy actually flags accounts that have been repeatedly reported for spam, so if this scammer is messaging multiple sellers, it's likely that sooner or later Etsy will catch on. I hope this information information was helpful to at least a handful of you, and obviously feel free to link this video if you see other sellers dealing with this scam in the future, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get worse before it gets better. Also, let me know down in the comments if you've had a message like this one, or if something similar on Etsy has happened to you over the last few months. And if this is the very first video of mine that you've watched, please know that this type of content isn't the norm for me, so consider checking out some of my other Etsy growth and strategy videos here and here. Stay safe, guys.